Now, that's the end of chapter 22 of Matthew, and now we're going into chapter 23. And Jesus just publicly tears into the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. These are the people who are hypocrites. These are the people who God entrusted to lead his people, yet they're leading the people astray. These are the people who soon are going to crucify and kill Jesus because they're envious of him, and they're afraid that all of Israel is going to follow him instead of them, and that Rome might come in and take their power away from them if everybody starts following Jesus. So they decide to kill him, and they're looking for a reason for it now. But Jesus warns everybody about them. So let's hear this. We're in Matthew chapter 23. A warning against hypocrisy. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, so he's telling this to everyone publicly, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you to do. But don't do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders. But they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for people to see. Everything they do is for show and for people to praise them. See, they make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and to be called rabbi by others. But you are not to be called rabbi. He's talking to the people and his followers. For you have one teacher, that's God. You are all brothers. Call each other brothers. And do not call anyone on earth father, for you have one Father, and he is in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. That's Jesus who is speaking to them. He said, I'm your instructor. Again, that's why we need to know the Bible. He says he's our instructor. He instructs us all through the Bible. The greatest among you will be your servant. Again, to be a great Christian is not to get honor and praise. To be a great Christian, you must serve other people. That is how you're great. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. But woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over land and sea to win one single convert, and when you have succeeded, you make them twice as much children of hell as you are. Woe to you, blind guides! You say, if anyone swears by the temple, it means nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold on the temple, they are bound by that oath. You blind fools, which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? You also say, if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing. But anyone who swears by the gift on the altar is bound by their oath. You blind men, which one is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? Therefore, anyone who swears by the altar swears by it and everything on it. And anyone who swears by the temple swears by it, and anyone who dwells in it. And anyone who swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give a tenth of your spices. They give a tithe, a tenth of what they have, but I guess part of it was they would give spices. You give a tenth of your spices, mint and dill and cumin, okay? That's following the law, but you have neglected the more important matters of the law. Justice, mercy, and faithfulness. And God says, having love and justice and mercy in other people is much more important than sacrificing stuff to him. They're following the law, but they weren't loving the people at all. He says that's more important. You should have practiced the latter. Practice justice and mercy and faithfulness without neglecting the former. You needed to do both, but the second was most important. Loving people and treating people kind is more important, God says, than making sacrifices to God. You blind guides, you strain out a gnat, but you swallow a camel. You pick apart the little unimportant things and hold to it, but the big important things you let slide. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and a dish, but inside you are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the dish, and then the outside will also be clean. How do you clean it? He said you need to clean yourself of greed and self-indulgence. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of the bones of the dead of everything unclean. In the same way, on the outside, you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside, you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets and decorate the graves of the righteous. And you say, if we had lived in the days of our ancestors, we would not have taken part with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. So you testify against yourselves that you are descendants of those that murdered the prophets. Go ahead then and complete what your ancestors started. Next, they're going to murder Jesus and 11 out of his 12 apostles with him. They're going to continue to do that. He said, go finish what you started. You snakes, Jesus said, you brood of vipers, how will you be able to escape being condemned to hell? Therefore, I'm sending you prophets and sages and teachers. He already sent out prophets and sages and teachers. Now, after he dies and gets resurrected and goes to heaven, he's going to send the apostles to them. But some of them you will kill and crucify. Others you will flog in your synagogues and pursue from town to town. That's what they're going to do next to the apostles. So upon you will come all the righteous blood that has been shed on earth, from the blood of the righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. Truly I tell you, all this will come on this generation. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who kill the prophets and stone those sent to you. How often I have longed to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you were not willing. Look, your house is left to you desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.